Senator Lee.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley and Ranking Member Durbin, for holding this important hearing on competition in American agriculture. Agriculture is, of course, one of our greatest strengths as a country. Our farmers work hard to produce nutritious food, not just for families here at home, but to feed hungry people around the world. And yet today, farmers are facing mounting pressure from market consolidation that's been squeezing them from both sides, creating a bottleneck. The companies that farmers buy from keep raising prices on some of the essential supplies they have to have in order to produce their commodities. At the same time, the buyers that farmers try to sell to continue to negotiate down, and they're negotiating down what they'll pay for crops and for livestock. Farmers are caught in the middle, very often watching their margins shrink year after year. Market consolidation has, of course, raised some additional concerns. Just two companies now control about 90% of corn seed genetics. Four firms produce roughly 75% of the nitrogen fertilizer used in this country. In cattle, four meat packers handle about 85% of fed cattle slaughter capacity in America. Consolidation's impacts are felt not just on the farm, but all the way to the grocery store, where consumers face fewer choices and fairly consistently higher prices at the same time. In addition to consolidation, sometimes regulations add to the problem, even when this is unintended, as it sometimes is. Federal regulations often impose compliance costs that small operators simply can't shoulder. What often may start as safety measures can become barriers that keep new competitors out of the market altogether. They serve as a sort of moat, an anti-competitive moat around the industry. And they can exclude people from becoming competitors who might otherwise reach that status. Now, this is why I've been an original co-sponsor of the Processing Revival and Intrastate Meat Market Exemption Act, also known as the PRIME Act. This bill takes a common sense approach. It would let states set their own inspection standards for meat that's processed and sold entirely within a single state's boundaries. The Constitution, properly understood, based on its text and based on its original public meaning at the time of its adoption, simply does not support the proposition that federal regulatory authority should extend to commerce as to products that never cross state lines to begin with. By removing this onerous federal regulatory footprint and allowing states to play their role where it's appropriate for states to play, we could help small processors compete far more effectively. More processors would mean farmers would have more options as to where they could sell their products, which would strengthen local economies and build resilient food systems. We also need strong enforcement efforts to address some of our competition issues. President Trump's Agricultural Competition Task Force is a joint effort between the U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's an effort that brings together DOJ's Enforcement Authority and USDA's deep knowledge of agricultural markets. It's a comprehensive approach designed to root out anti-competitive behavior. The task force is tackling these problems head-on. DOJ is investigating price-fixing schemes and allegations of collusion. They're taking a fresh look at past mergers to see how they may have impacted the state of competition. They're examining whether dominant firms are sharing information in ways that let them illegally coordinate their actions. The task force is also going after predatory pricing, where dominant corporations deliberately sell at prices below cost to drive smaller rivals out of business so that they can then seize a dominant position. And, of course, addressing patent abuses that stifle innovation and keep new competitors locked out. The task force also recognizes that we need to address the structural problems that created these issues in the first place. Take the cost squeeze farmers face every planting season. When essential inputs such as seed and fertilizer become more expensive, farmers' profit margins inevitably shrink. These costs stay high because of limited competition. When farmers face these market conditions, we're not just looking at an agricultural problem. We're looking at a broader threat that reaches across the economy and into our nation's food security, something that we pay a lot of attention to in this town. Competitive markets are essential infrastructure, you might say, within our economy. When competition works, innovation flourishes because new ideas can break through because they have every incentive to do so. Consumers benefit from better products at fairer prices. Rural communities prosper because farmers can earn a decent living. But when competition breaks down, we tend to see the opposite of that. Costs climb while innovation stalls. Farmers and ranchers look at those shrinking markets and wonder if the next generation will have any future in farming at all. And we can't let that happen. Agricultural markets are not exempt from the rule of law, certainly not exempt from our antitrust statutes. Farmers, ranchers, and American consumers deserve markets where success comes from innovation, efficiency, and hard work, not from consolidation or collusion. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today and doing all this with an eye toward keeping American agriculture strong for generations to come. In order to do that, we all understand that we need robust competition. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.